Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris and her Republican rival Donald Trump have delivered radically different messages on the U.S. campaign trail as they sought to win over undecided voters in the 2 weeks before Election Day. Mr. Trump has made immigration and the border central to his campaign, often jumping to draw attention to the issue during debate, even when asked about other topics. Also making sweeping calls for the National Guard and local police to conduct mass deportations, saying his second term would carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. For her part, Kamala Harris has embraced restrictions at the border that previously have been eschewed by Democrats, stressing the need to maintain limits on asylum, even as she's called for a pathway to citizenship for some migrants.
I think we are winning by a lot. I have a feeling we're winning by a lot. But this person cannot be president. By the way, is there any place better to be than a Trump rally? And don't get used to this, because it's only going to go on for another 2 weeks, isn't it? It's really simple. It's only going to go on in 4 years, you'll be having rallies of 100 people, 200 people. Mr. Wall will be doing other things. Front row Joes are going to be doing, oh, these guys are boring as hell. We got two more weeks together with our big, we had 101,000 people in Butler. Think of that. We had 107,000 people in New Jersey. We're making a move for New Jersey, too. And 2 weeks ago in California, we had 109,000 people.
U.S. presidential candidate there, Donald Trump. Andrew Thomas is an immigration lawyer, and he joins me from Norwood, Massachusetts, for more insight. Thanks so much for joining us, Andrew. Immigration has always been a contentious issue in U.S. elections. So with immigration reforms and border security at the forefront of political debates, how do you see this shaping voter sentiment among key demographics, especially in battleground states?
Thank you very much for having me. Immigration is a hot-button issue. For one of the candidates, he has been very clear about what he intends to do if he is elected president on November 5, 2024. But the disappointment among many immigrants, like myself, is the other front-running candidate has not really been clear, especially about what they intend to do to ensure that the immigration system is fixed. Presently, for those of us who come from countries that are typically underrepresented in U.S. immigration numbers, there's really no clear path to immigrating to the United States. Perhaps in the last 30 years, the biggest chance for people from the part of the world where I claim ancestry, which is Africa and Nigeria, is that you must come from, you must go through, for example, through the lottery or through the family system. So immigration is always a hot button issue. And why many people are also disappointed is because the Biden presidency saw the huge numbers coming from the southern border. Many of those people claim asylum. But every promise to fix those numbers that were coming, perhaps because of economic difficulty and security threats from wherever they were coming from, they decided to do something very unusual. In June, the president made a proclamation, and he decided that there should be a cap on people allowed into the United States every day, regardless of people's valid claims to asylum. America is a country that welcomes everybody. And if you see anybody in the United States, when I interact, the question is, when they ask me with my accent, where are you from? I also ask you, where are you from? Regardless of how you look physically, because at one point or the other, we all move into the United States. So for me and for many immigrants, immigration is also a hot button issue, in addition to the rising cost of living and the many disappointments that politicians have been serving, especially on the immigrants communities who don't have a clear path to bringing their loved ones into the United States.
That's right.
After they call this country home for many years.
But then we've actually seen how strong anti-immigration rhetoric can mobilize both conservative and progressive voters, whereas immigrant populations are becoming increasingly concentrated in pivotal swing states like Arizona, Nevada, Florida, where Trump is actually from. So do you think candidates like Donald Trump, who focuses on harsher immigration policies, will alienate certain voter groups, or could it help them consolidate their base?
I think it doesn't matter what I think. I think it matters what people feel, especially immigrants. Because the first question you would ask any immigrant is, has your quality of life improved? Have you been able to file a petition for a loved one and they've been able to make it to the United States in time when you need them to? Another hot button issue is, of course, the many issues going on between Israel, Gaza, and even now in Lebanon. So many immigrant populations have things that are very dear to them. So let's take a battleground state of Michigan. It has a very sizable population of people who claim Arab ancestry and who claim origin from North Africa. The grouse they have, for example, with the Ms. Harris campaign, or President Biden's administration, is you say you love us, but there's been an disproportionate attack on innocent civilians in Gaza. So they've coalesced a population of almost 300,000 Arab Americans, coalesced that if we can't make ourselves heard by determining who becomes president on November 5, we can stop Ms. Harris. On the other hand, you see that the other candidate has been very clear what he intends to do under any pretext.
Absolutely.
He has scapegoated people.
Right.
Yes,
right. Andrew, very quickly, because of our time, while undocumented immigrants cannot vote, the policies surrounding their status are often a central issue in elections. So, as a licensed immigration attorney, how do you think the debate over pathways to citizenship and DACA could influence voter turnout among immigrant advocates? Very quickly, if you can, maybe under a minute.
Well, for anybody to be able to have a concrete say on how immigration goes in America, Congress has to come together to decide how to fix the immigration system. And by law and the Constitution, undocumented people and people who are not U.S. citizens cannot vote. That's in the books, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, and I don't expect it to change. So if you ask me, I think the pathway for immigrants who have a say is to go out and cast their ballot for the candidate who looks like is going to represent their interest when the person is elected on November 5, 2024.
Absolutely, that answers it. We'll see what happens. It's just a matter of days. Andrew Thomas, an immigration lawyer, thanks so much for your insight on this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.